Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Samantha. Today I'm going to be sharing with you two brand new releases from Revolution, and of course they launched yesterday on the revolutionbeauty.com site. I was able to get hold of them because superdrug.com released them early on Tuesday, so I managed to pick these up to be delivered to the store today, and that's how I've managed to get my hands on them so early. And what are they? Well, they are the brand new collaboration between Revolution and Emily Noel. Of course, Emily is a YouTuber just like myself, and I'm so excited for her and so pleased for her. I have been watching Emily for years. So I'm so excited and pleased for her, and she comes across so lovely, so genuine, and yeah, I'm really pleased to be sharing these products with you today. So of course they are two new palettes. The first one I'm going to share with you the packaging and then some swatches, and then we'll get into the try on for them both. So the first one, the packaging looks like this. So this one retails for £10. It's called the Revolution and the Emily Edit, and this is the Needs. I really like this concept as well, because the other one, as you'll see in a moment, is perhaps not so necessary, but of course it is very necessary. So this is the Needs, so that gives you an idea of what you're going to receive in here. I really like also that Emily, and this has been signed by Emily herself, and then copied onto the packaging. So you've got pink, which I love, and then rose gold. On the back, you have got, again, Revolution with Emily there, all of the details as on the front. Then you have the ingredients here. Then you have that it is, let's have a look. It is, well, it has a 12-month shelf life, and it is also cruelty free as well, which you can see there. And then when you look at this, you've got a picture of Emily there, along with what you're going to receive inside on the back as well. So like I said, this retails for £10. You can pick this up from either revolutionbeauty.com or superdrug.com. I'm not sure about in the US, because I'm sure I spotted somewhere that it may be available in Ulta, but I don't know 100%, so I don't want to clarify that. Obviously, if you are in the US and you know for sure, if you can let me know down below so that everybody else is aware of that information, I'd really appreciate that, and thank you very much in advance. Okay, so getting on to the first palette. So obviously you saw the matte pink packaging there. So the palette itself looks like this. So again, it's very pink, but this time it's shiny and it is beautiful. I mean, I love anything pink. Anything peachy, and you'll see obviously what I mean in a moment. So again, the outside packaging reflects on the inside. You've got Revolution there, the Emily Edit there, and the Needs there. So and that's obviously in rose gold as well when it catches the light. There we go. On the back, you've got a pink label, again with that information, a little bit of information about the product there. And then you have that it is cruelty free, as well as the shelf life again there. So when you open up this beautiful packaging, now this one did come in, was it in bubble wrap, this one? No, this one wasn't in bubble wrap, sorry. This one came in a sealed box, which I love, because obviously if it's in Superdrug, it's tamper proof. I also had one of those plastic sheets. I've already removed that so that I don't damage any of the actual pans. You get a huge mirror, so that's again the size of the lid. And apologies if you can hear the noise outside, but it has been ongoing all morning. It's someone doing some work outside, so apologies for that if you can hear that. This is the inside. So this is the Needs palette. So this is everything that you may need if you are traveling, for example, or you know, if you don't have a huge makeup collection, or you are just starting out. Perhaps you would like a face palette that gives you everything, and I think this one does. So really, if you look at this palette, you've got all your face powders. You've got your eyeshadows. So really all you would need is perhaps a mascara and a lipstick. I can't think of anything else. I would probably need an eyeliner, which I'm obsessed with at the moment. But apart from that, that's basically it. So what I'm going to do is just talk you through the palette, and then I'll do the swatches for you. And then I've swatched the other palette on the other arm because there's so many. I'm sure you've seen it. So we have got the highlighter there. We've got a blush which looks beautiful. It's not pink and it's not peach. It's like a very neutral tone. Absolutely love that. And then we have a bronzer contour shade. We then have a matte powder as well there, and then we have the eyeshadow. So you've got a, is it matte, that one? Yeah, we've got a light matte colour, we've got a neutral transitional colour, we've got a warm brown, a cool brown, a black. So you've got your cream, you've got your black, and then you've got this beautiful colour which I absolutely love. So those are all of your your products. So let's get into the swatches. So the first one we have got, and I'm going to be doing it left-handed, so forgive me if it's not that sharp. So we've got Courage, but I'll do my best. So there's Courage. That is your bronzer contour shade. Then we have the beautiful blush, which is called Joy. You can really hear that now. Apologies for that, but I think it's going to be ongoing all morning. Then we have the highlighter, which is called Gratitude. I'm just going to double that one up. I didn't press very firmly with my left hand. So there's Gratitude. So we've got Courage, Joy, and then Gratitude there. And that is beautiful. Stunning. And I'm also really liking how they swatch. I know these days we're not really meant to judge the swatches, it is just for a shade reference, but I really liked so far how they swatched. Then we move on to the just the neutral powder colour. Nearly put it over the top of the highlight there. You're probably not going to see this a great deal, but it is there. That one there. Then we move on to those beautiful eyeshadows, and that is called, did I say Kindness? That one is called Kindness, that last one. Really love the names in here. So the first shadow is called Peace, that one there. So that would be your transitional shade. We then have Love. Again, it's quite a light shade, but you can just see that there. So that's Love. Still swatching very well. We have the first of those deeper shades, this being the cool tone, and it's called Hope. So Hope is there. We then have the, now when I look at it, I actually thought when I held it up that it was black, but it is very much, it's a duochrome, and it's got a purple undertone to it. So it's black, you can just see it there. It's black with a burgundy shimmer to it, or burgundy shift. Then we have the last two. We have the warm brown called Faith, that one there, and then we have the very last one in the palette called Honesty, which is that beautiful shade. It's not red, it's not orange, but it is a beautiful, very much complementary eyeshadow. So all of these shades complement one another. The face shades complement one another. I'm trying to say all my words together again. And then the eyeshadows also complement one another. What I'm going to do is, obviously you can see that I have popped some shadows on that eye. I won't be testing the eyeshadows out in this video, but I will be putting on the face products, and then in another video I will test out the eyeshadows for you. I just thought I'd split it up a little bit. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is try these on, and then we'll get on to the the next palette. Okay, so I'm going to go in with my NYX fan brush, and I'm going to just pick up some of that Courage shade. Another thing that I really like about this palette is the shade, the shapes of the shades. They're oval. My brush can get in there, even though it's a large brush, it gets in there and picks up the product. So that is very, very good as well. And I like that, you know, we've got something a little bit different. Really like that colour. Oh my goodness, I'm in love with that already. It's warm, it's just beautiful. Oh, wow. That is just stunning, and it's just gone on effortlessly. That word that I always have trouble with in every video. Absolutely love that tone. I thought for a moment there I'd put on the blush by accident because it is such a pretty colour. Of course, I'm going to now start warming up the cheek. Oh, that is beautiful, that colour. It's definitely warming up my face. Wow, love that. Just blending it all in. Now moving to the other side. Now I know a lot of you really enjoy my longer videos, so over the last couple of days I have shared with you, I think this is going to be the third longer video. Apologies about that, but obviously I don't edit. I do that on purpose so that you can see everything from start to finish. There's no, you know, trickery involved. What you see is exactly what is happening. So that is why I do that for you. So just blending, still blending that in. But as you know, I do like things very, very blended. That is beautiful. I could actually wear that on its own. I really, really like that. And I think that is enough. Just make sure it's blended here. I'm just going to get my foundation brush that I used this morning and just go over the edge of this here. That has really warmed my skin up and I really, really love that. Perfect. Okay, now I'm going to test out the blush. That is going to be a test because I'm using my huge Primark powder brush, and it is the large powder brush in 115. So it's going to be a bit of a test, but when it's managed to pick up the blush, I'm a little bit concerned actually because it seems a little bit pigmented. So let's have a go at this. That's lovely. That is actually perfect for my complexion. Beautiful, absolutely stunning. That is absolutely gorgeous, that blush. Stunning. Okay, now we're moving on to one of the flex brushes for highlight. And so basically the bronzer was called Courage, the blush is called Joy, and we're now on to Gratitude. So I'm just going to pop that in there and see what this is like. Ooh, that's pretty too. That is lovely, absolutely beautiful. is gorgeous. Just pop some of that on my... That is just absolutely gorgeous. They all work very, very well together. So I like that. Love that. Beautiful. Absolutely love it. So far so good. What I will say is that, of course, I can't try on, you know, that many eyeshadows, but I wanted to get as much done in this video as I can. And of course, I will be testing out those eyeshadows. Also, what I like is that if you, like me, have larger brushes and you just go over the outside, it easily cleans up. I've just managed to wipe that off with a finger. There's nothing on there at all. It works perfectly. And so not only do I like the colour and I like the front of this, I really like the packaging. It's beautiful. I like the idea also of the name of the palette, the Emily-eyed. These are as well, and I forgot to mention, I've just remembered. Now these are products and shades that are already available within the Revolution range. This is why it's called the Emily-eyed. So basically, Emily's obviously reviewed and shared Revolution products on her own channel, and the products that she has particularly loved the most, she has edited. That's why it's called the Emily-eyed, and she's popped into this beautiful palette. And of course, it is a very much needed palette because, like I said, if you are either new to makeup, you know, you don't have that big a collection, you're just starting out perhaps, and I know a lot of you are getting back into makeup after a long break, or you're going on holiday. I think these palettes are just particularly so good, so helpful. And I think even though you've only got 6 eyeshadows there, you've got warm, you've got cool, you've got a cream, you've got a deep, you've got that beautiful red, not orange, not red shade, you've got that beautiful transition. So I think you've got everything in this palette. I really like what Emily's done with it. I like the thought behind it, I like the name, and I like the packaging. So, and also I like the product. I think we've got very similar colouring, and perhaps that's why that palette works so well for me. I love the cheek products, and I now can't wait actually to share with you an eye look as well. I'll just share with you one more time all of the swatches, and then we'll move on to the other palette. So there's everything there for you within the Emily-eyed. The next, and that's obviously the Needs. The next palette that Emily has brought out, released with Revolution, is again called Revolution the Emily-eyed, but this one is called the Wants. Now, I get so many comments on my channel saying it's not needed, you know, I love this, but it's not needed, but I want it. And I see that all of the time. And I have that feeling about a lot of products because obviously I have a substantial collection, isn't getting bigger and bigger thanks to Revolution. But you know, it's not necessary, but I want it because everything is so good, and this is what this palette is all about. So this one is not pink, it's peach, and that's what I mentioned at the beginning. So I love pink, I love peach, and of course you can see again the logo there, the Emily-eyed with Emily's name there that she signed herself, and that's been copied onto the packaging, and this is the Wants. So these are things that we will want, I can guarantee you that. So on this one, on the back, you've again got the front transferred onto the back but smaller. You've got Emily there. Let me just have a look. This is cruelty free there, and you've got 12 months there. On the other one, I'm not sure, did it say? Yeah, 12 months again. Here you've got an all eyeshadow palette, and these are the shades that you can expect to find in here. Obviously, and if you're a big Revolution fan, you've probably seen these on the Revolution Instagram and on the channel Emily's and Revolution, obviously because they've done the release videos. Okay, so here's the palette. Again, that packaging was matte, and here is the packaging for the palette. So again, it's shiny and it is beautiful. I really like the fact that Revolution is now bringing out these coloured palettes. They are just stunning, and not only that, they just reflect the person even more that has you know, collabed with them. So again, you've got Revolution, you've got this time the Emily edit in huge writing with the wants there. On the back you've got a sticker again with all of that information transferred on the back, so if you do dispose of the box, you know, you've got it still here. Now it is a larger palette, and that does reflect in the price. So the price of this palette is £15. Of course, for the whole collection it is £25, which I still think is very, very good value. Some of the palettes, especially the ones that I shared with you yesterday, that was, and I paid £44 for that. So you are getting very good value with this, and you are getting 24 shades in here, and they probably, I mean, I haven't got my MAC shadows here, but they're that kind of, you know, size. So when you look at this, you have got a huge mirror, again the size of a lid, the lid of the palette, and I'm going to turn it upside down again, and here is your first glimpse at the pans close up. Again, it's shiny, so I do apologise for the glare, but I can't do anything about that. So actually, there we go. So there are all 24 shades. Now initially when I looked at this online, I thought, is it cohesive? Sometimes I feel a little bit overwhelmed by these palettes when they've got shades all dotted all over the place. But obviously I've created this eye look today. I didn't have any issues whatsoever with putting shades together. And I also feel that what Emily has done is placed certain shades together, and I couldn't see that properly online. So you've got plums together, you've got purples together, you have got all sorts of shades together, your neutrals here. So and I think it is a very cohesive palette. So whether you would like a burgundy look, a green look as I've done today, more of a neutral look, pink look, I mean, you've got it all in here. So I really, really like the way, or the shades that have been chosen. And like I said, you cannot get a good idea when you look online, and this actually goes across the board with a lot of makeup. When you look at things online, they look sometimes not as good, and when you look at them in person, they look so much better, and that's what I found with this. Even though the pictures are, I'm certainly not saying that the pictures are bad or anything like that. It's just that some, you know, you're looking at a flat picture, and it's not until you get it, you know, and look at it, you can see the true beauty. And again, I found that with this palette. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to share with you the swatches, and then I'll share with you the eye look that I have created today. So here we go with the first row. I've put them in 2 and a bit rows because I wanted to try and fit them all on one arm. So we go in with the first row that starts off with a matte, and it is called the cream, and it is a cream shade. So it's a cream matte shade. If you would like the full story of what these shades are all about and why they have been named that, then obviously do check out Emily's videos for that information. This video would probably be hours and hours long if I went all into that, and obviously it is Emily's palette, so you know, I do like to leave it up to the collaborator to you know, to talk more in depth about that. So we've got the cream there. Then we have got Hobby, which is a beautiful cool toned transitional shade for me. Then we have Prayer, which is very similar but not quite as red as the shade from the Emily edit. Let me just get my swatches up. So if you look at that one there, and then look at the third one across, you can see that it's quite similar but not quite. So this is more neutral, so again a transitional shade for me. Then and that's Prayer. I hope I said that. I'm getting carried away with all these beautiful shades now. Then we have Grateful, which is that lime green shimmer shade. We then have Good Vibes, again a shimmery tone, beautiful. Then we have the last shade of the first row, and that is Side Hustle, again green. And I just want to mention before I move on, another thing that I like in this palette, and I didn't see that until I'd opened it and looked for myself, is that, for example, I love certain shades. I'm not a big fan of green. I very, very rarely wear green, and I think this could be the reason why. In a lot of palettes, they pop, for example, one shade, one bright shade in. You see it across the board with every single brand now. They'll pop, you know, a bright green in there. What I like to do, and what I find easier, is to perhaps create a whole green-eyed look, for example, which is the shades that I'm talking about today. So, for example, I've stepped out of my comfort zone, and I looked at this palette, and it's got a green. I first noticed that corduroy shade, which I think a lot of people are talking about. Now, if that was just that shade within this palette, like you know, you see a bright stand-alone bright shade in a lot of palettes, sorry. What am I meant to do with that? How am I meant to create a look with that? And what I like about this is you have got three greens that I have used today to create this green look. So it's cohesive in that way. And Dark and Early, the very last shade, again, that's got a little bit of green to it, which I've already mentioned. So yeah, it's very cohesive. Again, with the purples, you've got more than one purple. With the pinks, you've got more than one pink. With those reddy cranberry shades, you've got more than one of those. So you've got a matte and shimmer. So what I'm trying to say is it's very cohesive. If you, like me, need more than one pop of colour to make that eye look work, of the same shade, this is going to be your palette. So we got to the end of the first row, didn't we? We got to the end of Side Hustle. So that is one of those it's an expensive shade to me, because it just reminds me of, you know, a very sumptuous, expensive material like velvet. Love that. So then we move on to the second row, and we start off with Midwest, and that is your orange toned, your very warm transitional shade, if you have a skin tone the same as me. Then Dues Paid, again warm but deeper than that. So those two would work very, very well together for me in a look. Then we have, and those are matte obviously, then we have this. Now this really surprised me. When I looked at it, I thought, wow, this is one of those you know, cool toned champagne kind of shades. But when I swatched it, and this is named after one of Emily's children called Eve Rose, and it's a champagne, but it's got a purple twist to it, a purple shift. Absolutely beautiful. Then we have another one named after Emily's children. I just thought I'd mention the children, and the shade is called Belle Violet, and I really like the fact that they're both purple shades. Beautiful. And that, again, they're standout shades. Love those. Then we have Capricorn, which is a deep brown with a hint of shimmer to it. It's not like this one, over the top shimmer. It is much more of a subtle shimmer. And then I just managed to pop the last matte shade, the last shade from the second row, on my arm. And this, I think, have I got it right? Pi-Fi, and that's that one there, a very deep burgundy matte. So that is your second row. Then we move on to the third row, and we start off with a shimmer neutral or shimmer cream. So of course in the first row you had that matte cream, you've now got a shimmery cream. You've then got Love Tons, which is this beautiful, it's like a fuchsia but it's a little bit deeper than fuchsia, and then you've got Pizzazz next to it, which again works very well together. So you can see where I'm going with these shades. Then we have this beautiful colour called Family. When I looked at this, it looks very much like Belle Violet, a little bit deeper, but actually swatched, it's got a pink tone to it. Very unusual shade, very beautiful, and I love it. Then we have this shimmer shade called Top Story, and you can see it's I'm going to say it again, I say it in every video, it's a grungy gold this time, not a grungy yellow. And then we have a matte neutral brown, or neutral verging on a deep brown there, depending on your skin tone. So that's your third row. Then we move on to the last row, and we have got Cupcake, a beautiful peachy pink, lovely shade that. Then we have a matte, it's quite a vibrant coral, isn't it? And that's called Laugh Cry, and we've all done that, haven't we? Then we have got a matte shade called Cheer, another burgundy, it's verging on red, that one. And then we have a deeper shade here which is shimmer, and that is called Heartbeat. I really like that as well because it's very much more red, much more like this one here. I think we've got a lot of cranberries, and there is cranberries in here, but you know, we want something a little bit different. Then we have the shade that is beautiful, a standout shade, and even though I don't like green, I'm starting to get into greens because you know, it's not just that grass green shade that I don't particularly like. You know, companies are bringing out greens that are wearable, that are on trend, and this is one of those, and it is called Corduroy. I really love the name as well. So Corduroy. And then we have Dark and Early, which is that black shade, but it's got some kind of shimmer to it, but swatched it does look black. So there are all of your shades. There was lots and lots, and I tried to fit them all onto one arm, and I think I've done it okay. Okay, so now on to the try on. So here we have the actual eye look. It's a little bit different. I wanted to go with the dark green in here. Perhaps, you know, you've looked at this palette and you think, I'm not going to be able to wear those greens in here. I've got all green on my eye today. I'm definitely out of my comfort zone, but I am loving it. So here we go. I'm using my Primark PS Eye Contour brush, and I'm going in with that second shade called Hobby. It was that cool toned transitional shade. Obviously, if you have lighter skin tone, there are other shades in here. Lighter shades, if you have deeper skin tone, there are deeper transitional shades in here. But I think Hobby will actually suit my skin tone and lighter. So here we go. I've primed my eye. Let me just make sure that that is covered because I've been out in the rain to get these. There we go. Okay. So this is the only shade that I've applied that isn't green because obviously I needed a neutral base to work from. These don't have any kick up. They're quite solidly pressed, so they're not loose in the pan whatsoever. Also, what I will say about the palettes, I know that this one is £15 and it's a little bit more expensive. You know, the collabs mainly are in the region of £10 as in the first palette, but they feel very much for that price point, they feel expensive. They feel very well made. I love the fact, I mean, you've got the mirror, and I just love it. So I'm going to pop that Hobby underneath as well. I've put so much concealer on today. I put concealer on before I went out, and then I put concealer on when I came back, and it's creased a little bit. So if you can see that, I do apologise. It's just because I got a little bit rained on while I was walking down to Superdrug. So I'm just putting that so that's the base. So that's Hobby applied, very nicely applied. It doesn't, there's no fallout. In fact, I was expecting fallout from that. There was none. And you'll see that in a moment. So it's applied very well, no fallout, no kick up, and it's buildable. So obviously you can have it lighter or build it up to what I have done there. Now I'm moving on to another Primark eye brush, because what I wanted to do was obviously go darker, and I didn't want to muddy up my eyeshadow and go into the shade Corduroy, and then it all becomes one colour. I really wanted to keep the intensity, and that's actually one thing that really resonated with me from what Emily spoke about in her video, one of the videos. I've watched both of them, and I can't remember if it's Revolutions or on Emily's channel, but what she did say was that she wanted shades. So when you look, and this is what a problem I've had with a few palettes recently, when you look at that palette, look at that shade, for example Corduroy, you've looked at that, it's that beautiful bottle green colour or racing car green colour. That's the colour that I want on my eye, and Emily said that in her video, that that's what she also wanted. She wanted the colour to play out on the eye as it appears in the actual pan. And if you're a regular viewer, you will know that I've had that problem recently, and you know that's what I also like about this palette. All of the swatches translate the same as what they look like in the pans, and so does this Corduroy shade. So I'm now going in. I just hope that it works on camera, and I'm now going to start. And what I did was I patted the colour on. So I'm going to keep it to this area, and as always I'm going to apply a little bit. Now I kept it in this area. I didn't want to put it all the way through the crease. I wanted to keep it just on the outside here. So I'm just at the moment just patting that on. Like that, and you can see that it's now starting to come together now. Like that. Now what I'm going to do with the brush, with the tip of the brush, I'm just going to start blending that up a little bit. Like that. I'm just going to keep patting little bits of this on until I'm happy with it. But what you can see is that it blends beautifully. You hardly have to do anything basically, and you've got what you want, or what I want that eye look to be. So I'm just tapping it into the crease, making sure that it's all, and that tiny little bit of blending that I did is basically all that I need. I don't need any more. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep to that green shade, but I'm actually going in with a flatter brush this time, like that. And I'm just going to get a little bit of that right on the end of the brush. I don't want it any lower than that, because I'm now going to pop that under the eye all the way along. that. And then what I'm going to do is go back to my first brush with the Hobby shade on there, just get a little bit of that and then blend that underneath, just to blend that out slightly. And I think that's okay. This side always looks a little bit deeper because the light, for some reason, even though I'm sitting right in front of a window, the light hits me from this angle. So that's why this side might look a little bit deep, or deeper, but in the mirror it is perfect. Now I'm just also going in with that shade as well, that brush, sorry, with that shade Hobby on, and I'm just going to just take that down a little bit. Like that. Okay, so now what I want to do is go in with the shimmer shade, and I'm going to go in with, now what shade did I use? Oh yeah, it was this one. It was called Side Hustle, and it is that beautiful rich shade there. So we're going in with another green this time. Again, I'm not going to wet the eyeshadow at all, because when I test eyeshadows out, I like to show you how they work dry, so that you get a good idea of what kind of, you know, how they're going to perform on your eye. So that is that applied. It's beautiful. Then where is my brush? Oh, there it is. I went in with a pencil brush this time, and I wanted to keep it green, so I'm now going in with the shade Grateful, which is that lime shade there. So I'm just going all around the inner corner with that lime green. Like that, absolutely beautiful. And now I'm going to apply the liner, which is the Revolution HD Smoky waterproof liner. So I'm just going to apply that on the waterline. Like that. So we're nearly there. I'm just going to just make sure that I've got the mustn't look into the viewfinder because it looks okay in the mirror. Whenever I look in the viewfinder, it always doesn't look how it does when I play it back. I'm going to now apply the mascara, which is the PS Amplif-eyed mascara in black. Like that. The lipsticks that I'm wearing while I'm waiting for that to dry is the Revolution Renaissance Lip Liner in Chauffeur, and then I've applied the Revolution Pro Supreme lipstick in Victorious, just patted that in the middle. I love that inner corner highlight. It really opens the eye out, doesn't it? As soon as you apply that inner corner highlight, it just looks fantastic. So that is my first, I suppose, try on of testing the new Revolution and Emily Noel's collaborations. So I'll just show you the palettes one more time. So we've got the wants, which we all will want, I'm sure, and then the need, which of course we all need. So I hope that I've helped you if you're still making up your mind whether you need one or both of those. I'll just end by sharing with you the swatches one last time. So what have we got? We've got the first row, first and second row, third and fourth row, and then the last two there. And I'll just show you my eye look close up and personal. As always, I'd love to hear your thoughts about these two palettes, my look, anything that I've discussed today. Thank You Thursday is going to be on Friday today, just because I knew that this was going to be a longer video and I wanted to do that separately on another video. So that will be coming tomorrow. And of course, if you have just stumbled across my channel, I would love it if you subscribe to watch further videos. I would really appreciate it. But until, as always, tomorrow, thank you so much for watching. Thank you. Bye.